our life poisons us. It's not as if the people in the 50s were on Weight Watchers or worked out or were super disciplined or had willpower. They just lived their life, and it just so happened that their life didn't poison them. That's not the case today.
Today, we're talking with Steven Rofrano, co-founder of Masa Chips, a company that's reinventing classic American snacking by using organic heirloom corn, an ancient nixtamalization process, and healthy fats like grass-fed beef tallow to create delicious seed oil-free chips.
Why seed oils should not be in your diet.
Seed oils didn't exist in anyone's diet 150 years ago. Fruits and vegetables, all this stuff has been around forever. Seed oils were the first brand new food, and today they represent 20 to 30% of the average American's calories. Wherever they go, they cause damage, and fixing it is very difficult if you don't change the root cause, which is like our diet. And seed oils, of course, are not the only cause of modern health problems, but they're a big one because you eat so many of them.
So you and your co-founder started Masa out of frustration with the current chip market.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you were seeing that made you go, we've got to do this differently.
I'm a big fan of chips. For whatever reason, when I was a kid, my mom would make nachos. That was like a good after-school snack. And then when I was in college, I didn't have facilities to cook for myself, so I would eat like chips and cheese or salami or kielbasa or something. Very common thing. And then when I graduated, I was a bachelor, I was living in New York City, and I would eat like chips and ground beef or whatever. It's a very convenient carb thing that you can just like put on a plate and have a meal with. But the annoying part is that all of them have seed oils in them, as I'm sure you're aware. And so I started getting rid of seed oils years ago. And I think the chips, the organic corn tortilla chips that I got from wherever, fried in organic canola oil, were the last things to go. And so that sort of deprived me of this food that I had been very accustomed to eating. And at some point after this, I was with some of my friends, and one of them was eating Tostitos or something. And I started lecturing him like, oh, seed oils are bad. You should not do this, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, well, what do I do instead? You know, like what snacks am I supposed to eat? And I started describing how you could have chips if they were made, for example, in beef tallow with organic corn and all this stuff. He asked me where to buy them, and I said that you can't. They don't exist. And he basically challenged me to go make my own, which I did. And that prototype, which is about almost 3 years ago at this point, I made it in a turkey fryer in my parents' backyard on the deck.
A turkey fryer?
A turkey fryer.
Those things are pretty dangerous.
Yeah. With like a propane tank and whatever. I did not burn the house down, fortunately. But what did happen was that the chips were very good.
Yeah.
And it's so good, in fact, that we were like, wait a second, this is not only a health food, but it tastes so good. That's a very rare combination. And so we decided to sell them. And we did. And here we are.
Yeah. 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
That's actually seems like a pretty fast like turnaround, even though you're probably like, no, it was like 24/7.
It's been a lot of work, but yeah, time flies.
I love it. I love it. So I kind of want to like take me back to like that makeshift backyard, quote unquote, barbecue that you created, right?
Yeah.
The taco Q. Like, did you have to do like a lot of research, or was it like pretty basic, like
It was very basic. I mean, it's simple, but it's not simple. I got organic corn tortillas. I had some grass-fed beef tallow, and I put the tallow in the fryer, and I chopped the tortillas into triangles, and I stuck them in there. I literally never deep fried a single thing in my entire life. I have never worked in restaurants. Like, first time I've ever deep fried anything. And I just like, they're done, and I pulled them out, and they were great. That was literally it.
Yeah, you're like, it's like all the infomercials you see for McDonald's, right?
Yeah, just like that.
Just a little shake, a little done. It's like all good.
Yeah, but it was good. And the thing is, it's so simple, but what goes into the tortilla prep, how you get beef tallow, all these things are very complicated. But the actual recipe is fundamentally very simple. It's just 3 ingredients, right?
I love it. Yeah. But I kind of want to like jump back, because you were saying like my mom, like the nostalgia part of it. My mom used to make me nachos for an after school snack. And then I become a bachelor in New York City. And like I've got sons, I've got my daughter is actually much better in the kitchen, but the boys, let me tell you, when like my teenage boy is just like, how least of amount, like how little dishes do I have to do in order to create something good and tasteful, kind of what you were doing, right? But making it taste super delicious, make the least amount of mess, and like here we are. And like, let me tell you, he's kind of a picky eater, and I bring Moss into the house, and he's like, these are good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I did it. Like, I did it. He's actually
Finally
eating
convinced him.
Yeah, and you're like, they're just chips.
Yeah.
But you don't say like, oh, they're really good for you, because then they're like, oh, they are.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't want it because people are so used to this idea where the health food is bad and they don't like it.
Yeah.
And so families have this big issue, moms especially, trying to get their kids to eat healthy at whatever age. And the kids are always resisting because they want the junk food at their friend's house or something. And so there's this constant fight between parents and their kids. Parents want them to make better decisions. And the kids are like, I eat what tastes good. And it's very hard to find something that both parties can be happy about.
Yeah, for sure. But did you have an early like warning sign of your own personal health journey?
Oh yeah, I was at the end of freshman year of college. I had gotten like pretty sick eating at the dining hall for a whole year.
Wait, you got pretty sick?
Yeah, well, just not with like a identifiable disease, but I was getting sick all the time. Like I think I got sick during freshman year probably 4 or 5 times in the course of a single year. I was not doing so hot. And this is in part because the dining hall food is so terrible. And growing up, my mom cooked basically everything I ever ate. And so the transition was pretty challenging. And so at some point after that year, I was doing an internship at a university in Belgium. And I had to cook for myself because they don't have dining halls over there. So you have to, go out to the grocery store, buy food, like do the whole thing. And I just started playing around with what I was feeding myself, realizing that if I ate certain things, I would feel a certain way. And if I ate other things, I would feel a different way. And so I was like, wait, if I eat things that make me feel good, like then I won't be sick anymore. And, shocking.
1 + 1 = 2.
Right. Shocking revelation for 19-year-old me. But alas, that was the realization. And so that kind of set me off over the subsequent years trying to optimize every health component of everything that I did.
That's pretty awesome. Like age 19, that's like pretty well mature on that. I mean, you started questioning the standard American diet, and like it's very interesting that you started to question it when you were in a different country that probably had much better tasting
way
produce.
better and much better quality food.
Yeah.
I think the quality of food in Europe is degrading in recent years, but at that point, I'm so old now. Oh my gosh, that was like over a decade ago, and the quality was still a lot better. And so that's another big component. And the tallow frying thing is interesting too. That's where I first learned about it, because I learned Belgium is famous for its French fries, and I would eat the French fries there. And I realized later on that the fries were so good because they fried them all in tallow. That's like how you make a traditional Belgian French fry. And Belgium invented French fries. People don't necessarily know that, but that's like tallow frying is a thing that's relatively unique historically to that traditional society and culture. And it's the right way to fry. And so later on, much later on, when I decided I have to go fry something of my own, tallow was the natural choice.
Wait, are they still using tallow over
Some
there?
of them do. Like the traditional places for sure do. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. My husband's a French fry fanatic.
Oh,
Say
nice.
that 5 times fast. French fry fanatic.
Yeah.
Literally. And I swear not that we're like talking about French fries here, but if I have to say, like every place that we go to, and if there are French fries, and if he decides he's going to get a fry, it's like a little challenge of like a rating scale. He's like, how does this one taste? Oh, this one's sliced perfectly, whatever. So it's very interesting that you bring that up, because you also have another product that's coming out. We can segue into that, but it's a potato chip. And my son, who also approved of the Masa Chips, says, I love these potato chips because they taste like thick, flat French fries.
Yeah, crunchy French fries. Yeah, the first time we made them, that's exactly the reaction I had. And I was not a big potato chip. In contrast to tortilla chips, I was not a big potato chip guy growing up. For whatever reason, they just like the instant you eat a normal potato chip, it just like feels like greasy and weird, and like they don't taste right. I love French fries. French fries are delicious.
Yeah.
But somehow you take a potato and fry it and put it in a bag, and it's a potato chip and it's gross. And you take a potato and fry it and put it on like a dish at a restaurant, and it's a French fry and it's delicious.
Yeah.
And the ability to make a French fry or a potato chip taste like a French fry, like that's awesome, because French fries are awesome.
Yeah.
And so that was just like the first time I tried the prototypes of Vandy, which are potato chips, I was just like blown away at how good they were. And now I eat potato chips, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were talking about seed oils.
Yeah.
And where a lot of people, it's very interesting. So I'm from the Midwest. You're from
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
I feel like those could be kind of like similar, like food industries. That's same
probably.
points. But you're Italian American. So are you a half Italian?
No, I'm Italian.
You're full Italian.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that Italians like greet and see the food, like in culture wise, I think it's fascinating. I've been to Italy twice, and as we were just talking about ingredients over there, they're so much cleaner. They don't have GMOs. They don't use any of those artificial stuff. And I think I don't know what your major was in college while you were studying abroad, but it's how appropriate is it that you started, something so ancient grains, and brought it into American society right now as it should have been. Like,
Right.
a lot of people one of our sons went traveling in Italy and he goes, man, their Italian foods, it's just like so good here. And I'm like, it's just food.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing. I was in Italy last summer, I think, and we kept seeing all the restaurants would advertise themselves as tipico cuisine or whatever. Like, that's what they would say. It's like typical Italian food. And they were proud of it, right? You go to places in New York and everyone's trying to be like, oh, this is how exotic our food is. Like, we invented this thing, or some fusion recipe or whatever. Newfangled, like innovative culinary innovation or something. But in Italy, they don't have that at all. It's the literal opposite. No one who does culinary innovation in Italy succeeds. It's always like they're trying to make their thing the best version of some traditional recipe. They're proud of that fact, and they don't want to innovate, and they don't need to because their food is so damn good, right?
I love that. There's actually this show. I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but it kind of spurred my memory there. It was a YouTube show, and it was, I have to figure it out, but it was basically like how my grandma makes it, or old people's recipes or something like that. And it's basically following around these old like Italian women, and they're in their house just making pasta by hand.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because now we like buy these from Erewhon and stuff, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the best pasta ever.
Yeah.
But it's really simple ingredients.
It's so simple. If you had a time machine and you were like 100 years ago, that's just like you go down to the village, and that's what people did. My grandma grew up in a mountain village in Sicily, and there's a traditional cookie recipe we have in my family. And it requires, when we make it, like an hour of kneading with a dough hook in a KitchenAid. But the way they used to do it before KitchenAids, because they didn't have electricity where they were growing up back then, the old ladies would get around, and there'd be like 6 or 7 of them, and they would like each knead for a few minutes and then pass it to the next one. And then they would go around in a circle and do that for God knows how long, like gossiping and whatever. And that was like, that's how they made the food.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that so much. We have to do that at home. But let's get back to those like ancient and heirloom ingredients. Corn and tallow. All right. Pushing away the seed oils here. Yeah. So let's talk about the stars of the show. Corn and beef tallow, correct?
Yeah.
Because you're not just grabbing any old ingredients off the shelf. Why you were talking a little bit about why the beef tallow is in there, but kind of explain to people why seed oils should not be in your diet.
Yeah. The simplest explanation, and it can get very complicated, but the simplest explanation I have is simply that seed oils didn't exist in anyone's diet 150 years ago. It's a completely new invention. It's not as if they were eating them in certain quantities, but then production changed. Now we eat more of them or whatever. No, they didn't exist. Like, the patent on a machine to make seed oils dates to like 1840 something, I don't know, or 60 something. And it wasn't actually widely used until the 1920s when Crisco was invented. And Crisco was the first widely consumed and marketed and produced seed oil product. And it was just completely new. It was brand new. It was probably the first ingredient in all of history that was completely brand new, right? Everything else, wheat's been around forever, meat's been around forever, dairy's been around forever, like fruits and vegetables, all this stuff has been around forever. Seed oils were the first brand new food. And today they represent 20 to 30% of the average American's calories. Total calories, 20 to 30% of them are seed oils, which is like
daily.
Daily, annually, whatever. Yeah. People's like a third of people's diet is basically seed oils. And so you have this brand new thing coming on the scene. Humans never ate it. We're not designed to eat it. It's not part of anyone's ancestral diet, no matter where you're from. And now all of a sudden we're eating 30% of our food is this thing. And so that's just, that alone is cause for a big enough question mark to think, well, why are we doing this? Why should we be, eating so much of this thing that's brand new to our physiology? And then obviously there's a whole bunch of actual reasons why it's bad. Just the fact that we haven't done it before doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it is. And so the fact that it went from 0 to 30 in 100 years and it's horribly toxic to every part of your physiology is, there's no excuse for it really.
What do you know that it's doing to our physiology?
Yeah. So it has to, the science part of it has to do with the fact that the seed oil molecules, they have like these fatty acids that break apart. And when they break apart, they have, they're called reactive oxygen species. It's like basically a molecule with an electron on it that pulls away molecules from other molecules, right? It wants to, it goes around. It's like a little, your kid's playing with Legos and you throw a jackhammer at the Lego set. The seed oils are this like jackhammer molecule that wherever they see something, they're trying to grab electrons, grab molecules away. And so they just break apart human tissues just due to the nature of how reactive of a molecule it is. And so wherever they go, they cause damage. And so it's not like, it sounds kind of crazy when people say, seed oils cause this problem, and they cause cancer, and they cause obesity, and they cause macular degeneration, and sunburn, and skin cancer, and all these things. It's like, how could one molecule do so much? Well, it's because the molecule is universally toxic to the type of biological material that's in human bodies. And so no matter where they go, they're going to cause some kind of damage.
You know that moment when you're craving something crunchy, but also trying not to eat junk? Same here, folks. That's why I'm obsessed, and our family is, with Masa Chips. They're made with just 3 clean ingredients: organic corn, 100% grass-fed beef tallow, and sea salt. That's it. No seed oils, no weird stuff, just real crunchy goodness rooted in tradition. And trust me, they actually taste amazing. My pantry is never without them. And the best thing of all, guys, my family actually eats them. Holla frickin' Luya. So if you're trying to snack smarter without giving up flavor, give Masa Chips a try. Head to masachips.com and use my code ToxicFreeKB for 25% off your first order today. That code again is ToxicFreeKB. Your snack game just got a serious upgrade. Let's talk about light stimulation. Whether you're looking to boost collagen, reduce inflammation, improve recovery, or just feel more grounded and energized, LightStim's FDA-cleared LED devices are a game changer. I personally love that their technology is backed by over 20 years of science and trusted by doctors, professionals, and over 1 million people at home. This isn't just about beauty, folks. It's about healing at a cellular level. And with LightStim's full body LED bed and handheld devices, you can experience the benefits of light stimulation, also known as many people like to call it red light therapy, even though we know it's just pure, beautiful light stimulation from the comfort of your home. So are you ready to try it for yourself? Use my exclusive code ToxicFreeKB at checkout for 10% off your order at lightstim.com. Your body and your skin will thank you. Using a sauna is a key part of my wellness routine and healing journey as I continuously recover from mold exposure and boost my blood circulation for my Raynaud's. Detoxing and sweating is absolutely essential, and my Sunlighten infrared sauna has become an amazing game changer in my life. It helps me sweat out toxins, support my overall immune system, and most importantly, calm my central nervous system throughout my healing practice. We could all use a little more of that, could we? The gentle, low EMF infrared heat helps me relax, de-stress, and feel like myself again. If you are looking for a natural way to reduce your toxic load, boost circulation, and promote deep relaxation overall, I cannot recommend Sunlighten enough. It's been an essential part of my personal healing, and I know it can support you too. Head to toxicfree.com, go to my shop page where you'll see the Sunlighten ad, and use code ToxicFreeKB at checkout for up to $1,400 in savings on your sauna. Guys, yes, $1,400 in savings. Your body and your nervous system will absolutely thank you. Again, that code is ToxicFreeKB for up to $1,400 off. You can also find the easy to click through link in the description below. Send me your sauna pics. Guys, let's start sweating together. That is crazy. I'm like getting all these like images right now, and I'm like, okay, so our tissues are breaking down, and then what happens? You know, when your tissues break down, then what happens? Yeah,
I mean, you just have a general state of inflammation. Nothing works as it should. Mitochondrial function isn't working right, and you can't repair yourself because you're eating more seed oils, and it's contributing to the problem. And so the results of this are multifaceted, right? People's metabolism is reduced.
Slows down.
Their metabolic functioning is bad. They get insulin resistance. They get cancer. Like they get, and wherever that is, that's obviously problematic. And fixing it is very difficult if you don't change the root cause, which is like our diet. And seed oils, of course, are not the only cause of modern health problems, but they're a big one because you eat so many of them, right? If we think about other toxic things that are in our diet, for example, say Red 40 or whatever, obviously no one's going to defend Red 40, but at the same time, an average person who eats a normal diet will eat a few milligrams of Red 40 a year. And at the same time, they ate kilograms of seed oils. It's exacerbated by the fact that the dose is so high.
Yeah, I find that interesting because Red 40, obviously you could see it. If you're reading labels, which this day and age, you really should. There's even apps that can help you out with this. But seed oils, it's such a broad term, and I know a lot of people have heard. Can we have some specifics of like what those seed oils are and how, like literally you were saying like, 20 to 30% of our, the intake, the caloric intake. But what people don't realize is that 20 to 30%, a little bit each day adds up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Steven.
And they get stored in your body too. It's not like you eat them and they go away. So people's body fat, this was a very interesting study where some scientists measured the types of fats that compose people's fatty tissue. There's not just one kind of fat, right? A lot of different types of fatty acids. And the types of oils that are in seed oils were not present at all in the fat tissue of someone 100 years ago or the whatever natural living tribesmen that were studied. Modern people have, it's like 15 to 20% of their body fat is seed oil fat.
Is that because of what I'm seeing? This started after pretty much the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
So we're basically eating things that are running machines.
Yeah.
We should be a well-oiled machine, but we don't want that stuff in our body.
No, of course. And cottonseed oil, Crisco used to be made, or the first oil that Crisco was made from was cottonseed oil. And the reason why it was a thing was because Procter Gamble, which is a big company, everyone knows them, they had a lot of business in cotton production at the time, so the late 1800s, early 1900s. And a byproduct of cotton production is all the cotton seeds, right? Because you pick the cotton and there's like little seeds in the fuzz, and you got to get the seeds out of the fuzz so you can turn the fuzz into clothing. And then these seeds kind of just pile up. And so that's a big cost center for the company doing this because you have to pay to dispose of them. It's you're shipping it around, whatever. And so they wanted to figure out a way to use cottonseed oil and sell it. The use that they came up with was food, even though no one was eating them.
We can eat it.
Yeah. And there's something, you can find jars and pictures of jars and bottles from that time period where people were trying to sell liquid cottonseed oil. But no one bought it because Americans didn't cook with oil at the time. The Italians and the Greeks brought olive oil to this country in popularity, really, like in the 80s. Before the 1980s, you didn't eat olive oil in America unless you were Italian. Like it was in like a foreign cuisine shop. Now there's no other oils, right? Avocado oil didn't exist. No one was eating that. The only other liquid oils are the seed oils. And so at the turn of the last century, the only fats that an American would have had access to in their daily cooking would have been beef tallow, lard, butter. And that's pretty much it. Those three things. And all of those are solid. And so when they tried to introduce liquid cottonseed oil to the market as a food item in the early 1900s, no one bought it because they were like, why? I don't cook with oil. I use this to light my candles or for my lamps.
My kerosene lamp.
Yeah, exactly. To lubricate my machinery. I don't eat oil. And it wasn't until the scientists figured out how to turn the liquid oil solid, which was what Crisco was. It's solid, right? And it looks like butter, and it looks like lard, and it looks like tallow. It wasn't until then that they were actually able to sell it to people.
I find that kind of something I want to segue into. My sisters and I were having this discussion about something my dad's still using, which is margarine.
That's Crisco. Same thing.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but people think it's like basically butter in a tub,
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not butter.
It's not butter at all.
So it's like, what could you tell someone that is still in that mindset? What could you tell them like right here, right now? Like if you're still eating the margarine, like what is it doing to your body right here and right now?
It's the same thing that I said about seed oils. The problem, like convincing people is hard because they're set in their ways, especially if they're old. But I would, if I were having debate with him or discussion, not debate, if I were having a discussion with him, I'd probably talk about, okay, you think that's traditional and you use that when you were growing up. Maybe your mom cooked with it, but her mom didn't. And so you think it's this modern thing, and then you talk about how, well, actually, this company decided to go push this product that was used as industrial waste. Prior to that, they spent like $25 million in like the 1920s. Procter Gamble gave this money to the American Heart Association to start talking about how Crisco and these types of vegetable oils were good for you. And that propaganda has continued to this day. And so you have the heart healthy labels, and you have all of the whole boomer, like, oh, don't eat saturated fat mentality. That was all paid for by Procter Gamble. And so explaining that might be a helpful way of educating someone if they know that their cultural tradition is not a byproduct of historic evolution or whatever, but it's actually a byproduct of just mid-century propaganda. Maybe have a shot with that.
Everything is marketing.
Yeah.
So obviously people know this by now if they've listened to me, that we all carry cancer cells in our body. We all carry cancer cells in our body, but it's up to us whether we turn them on or keep them turned off, right?
Sure.
So what you eat definitely has a huge effect on that. And, you know, part of my show, I have 4 pillars, and one of them is food and nourishment of toxic-free living. If you want to create that well-rounded lifestyle and that, you know, hope for longevity, it's definitely in what you eat. But it's not just your body, what you talk about. What happens to the mind when you start to eat better?
Well, I mean, the brain is part of the body. It's the most complicated part. So if you imagine anything that you do to your body, the brain is going to be more sensitive to. And people sort of neglect this. It's very interesting. They understand that body and physical health like affects everything about the way our body works, and nutrition and all, and toxins and all these things affect it. But somehow when you start to talk about the brain, people like kind of have this mental switch and they shut off and like, oh, the brain is like this magical little black hole where it's just what I think. It's just like if I work hard or have habits or willpower or whatever, but it's your brain is a part of your body, right? So why is it that the brain gets this pass to be accepted from all the same types of toxic things that might influence our body? It's the same situation. And also, given that the brain is so complicated, you would think that any toxic, harmful thing that you're exposed to would affect your brain more and first and faster. It's just so much harder to measure what's going on in the brain because it's so complicated, right? You can look at a tumor, or you can measure some blood levels of whatever you get your blood test at the doctor's office. You can look at your skin, you can feel your bowel movements, or if you're bloated or whatever, you can feel all of those things, but the brain is more complicated and it's very hard to measure. So it's very hard to tie, for example, how I'm feeling today mentally to some toxic thing I did yesterday. But it's very easy to see, oh, I ate this thing, now I have acne. Right. So it's a lot harder to measure.
That is such a beautiful example. I think that's like a shout out to even all the teens out there that are like, oh my gosh, I tell you, like I was just talking to someone last week and like literally what we find under the beds, it's like you could provide all the food for your kids, but at the end of the day, kids have to sometimes learn by doing like, oh, I don't feel well, or oh, I've had this cough for a month. It's like, well, maybe where is that stemming from? Is it the energy drinks you're drinking?
Maybe stop vaping.
Or stop vaping,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's like the lifestyle things are huge. And so like, obviously, like we're not like, yes, you have an amazing chip company. Yes, but it goes deeper from that. It's like you're actually shaping the health in the world. And just going back to what we were born to live.
Well, my goal is not to make health foods for the health people, because the health people will be fine whether or not they buy my chips.
Yeah, totally.
The 5% of people, whatever it is, that actually work out and prioritize nutrition and do all these things. It's not a very large group of people, obviously. But those people will find a way around whatever obstacle they encounter in society to their health. Whether it's, oh, the air is bad and so I need to install an air filter, the water's bad so I'm gonna get filtered water, or this food is bad so I'm gonna cook my own. Like they're gonna figure out a way to get around it for the most part. It's everyone else who we really have to worry about, because that's the bulk of our society,
Yeah.
And if those people are not making decisions on health first, they're making decisions on convenience first, or taste first, or cost first, or whatever other metric or whatever other priority they have. Those people cannot be reached with yet another health food. And so one of the things that we try to do in our advertising and whatever is like, this isn't health food. It's not a healthy snack. I hate that. It's not a health food.
Yeah.
It happens to be healthy, but it's good food, right? And you enjoy it. which is the key thing, because that's how most people are going to be basing their purchasing decisions on food, is whether this tastes good or fills some other need or hole in my, dietary life. And so if you can get them with, oh, this actually tastes good, they might not even know what a seed oil is or what tallow is. And frankly, I don't care. That's fine, because people do not need to have the sort of obsessive, self-taught master's degree in physiology that, like, I'm sure you have basically done and I have, or whatever. Normal people are not going to do that, nor should they. They have to spend their time on other things. People have stuff to do, right? And so if you have to go do your research before you just buy something at the grocery store every single time, that's going to be a problem. And so if I can just come out here with foods where you don't need to do any research, you don't need to learn anything.
You did it all for him.
Yeah. Just like, oh, pick the one that tastes the best. Oh, that one. Oh, cool. Great. Problem solved. Don't need to think about it too much further than that.
Are you ready to elevate your skincare game? Meet Delavie Sciences, a revolutionary skincare brand blending cutting-edge science with natural ingredients to create products that truly deliver. With proprietary formulas like their award-winning Ionia line, Delavie Sciences harnesses the power of space-age technology and advanced research to target fine lines, wrinkles, and skin damage. I absolutely love this line so incredibly much, y'all. I use it daily and have noticed that my fine lines that were starting to form have been dramatically reduced in appearance. Yes, naturally. This is definitely a hooray moment for me. I also love that their products are dermatologically and clinically tested, as well as a toxin-free. Perfect for anyone embracing a healthier and toxic-free lifestyle. Guys, I don't approve everything, but this I definitely approve. By listening to Toxic Free with KB, you'll get exclusive access to, get this, 25% off all Delavie Science products by using code TOXICFREE, because your skin deserves science, not shortcuts. Once again, visit delaviesciences.com today and use code TOXICFREE for 25% off and experience the future of skin health. To hear more about this innovative skincare line, listen to my entire interview with one of the founders of Delavie Sciences, Dr. Kyle Landry. I think one of the hardest things to incorporate change into our lifestyles is probably our cleaning products, because a lot of people think just because that smell is coming out, that means it's clean. But truly, y'all, you've heard me talk about this time and time again, that smell could actually be a toxin. So something that I've actually incorporated in our household, and I actually send the kits to all of my friends and family members as gifts time and time again, is Branch Basics products. Guys, Branch Basics never set out to sell soap. They truly are on a mission to help people create healthy homes and experience the power of pure. I am totally on this game as well. And someone that has been highly sold is our house cleaner. She has helped toss the toxins with me, and she uses Branch Basics for all of our cleaning necessities at our house. And let me tell you, we don't always live in a clean space. We've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, I've got a husband, so we've got a lot of things to clean up. 3 of the things that have really popped into my shopping cart lately are their new formula laundry detergent. Their toxic-free candle, because baby girl loves a good bath time and sitting by the candles at night when she enjoys her good veggie bowls. And also their hand soap. But 2 of the staples that I live by in our household, and trust me when I tell you I can use this for everything, even on my pups, is their oxygen boost and their liquid gold concentrate. So guys, I'd like to help you get started on your cleaning by giving you 15% off all starter kits. And also, guys, this applies to their hand soap and their toxic-free candle, all the things. Not only will you get your starter kit, but you can get a whole bunch of other items to stock up on. Give the gift to yourself and use my code over at Branch Basics, which is ToxicFreeKB. Guys, again, if you want 15% off, use ToxicFreeKB. Let's be real. Finding a snack that's actually clean and delicious, not easy these days. That's why I'm obsessed with Vandy Crisps. They're made with real ingredients, no weird stuff, and they seriously deliver on flavor. It's the perfect go-to for when you want to snack without second guessing what's in the bag. My youngest son says that they're like thick, flat French fries, and he even squirts a little ketchup on them and off he goes. I actually sent my husband on one of his recent long journey 42-mile hikes with them, and he said it really put the spot when times got tough. So I think you'll all enjoy them too. And because you're part of the Toxic-Free with KB community, you get a little something extra. Use code ToxicFreeKB for a discount at checkout on your first purchase. Grab yourself some original classics or their newest French onion flavor. Let me know which you like the best. That's like the whole point of it. I like tell everyone, I talk to the brands that I work with too. I'm like, you are in my life because I support your brand, and I'm doing the research to get it out to the rest of the community, because a lot of people have questions. A lot of people are struggling with a lot of things. A lot of people also look at me, Steven, and they're like, oh, you look like the epitome of health. No, I've been through a lot. And, you know, whatever I'm still going through. But I look this way because of how I treat my body and how I research to create this like vessel that I live in. You know, it does take work, but it also does take knowledge. And that's why I'm here. That's my mission. And that's why you're here to join me on this mission.
Correct. None of us would need to be doing this. A good example I like to use in, say, the 50s, you know, like in Grease, the movie Grease, where they're at the diner. Yeah. You think those people are going to the diner and eating this or that menu item because it's good or bad for them? They don't know anything about this stuff, but they didn't need to because it was good. There were no problems, right? You go to the food store, you buy the food, you go to the restaurant, you eat the food there, you do what your doctor tells you, you do what your parents and, you know, grandparents and the culinary traditions in your family, you just do that and you'll be fine. But the problem we have is that if you just do that today, you'll be screwed. And so it's not as if the people in the 50s were on Weight Watchers or worked out or were super disciplined or had willpower or like didn't eat when they were hungry or had some diet. They just lived their life, and it just so happened that their life didn't poison them. That's not the case today. Our life poisons us. And so similarly, people who are sick today, it's not that they're any weaker or worse people or less willpower or whatever than people back in the day. They just live in a world that poisons them at every turn. And so the real win here is to fix that. It's very important, given that we don't live in a safe, healthy world, to educate people. But the ideal is for people to not need to be educated in the first place.
Yeah. You know, I find it interesting also because there is so much competition out there and there's so much noise in the food industry. And also our soil is so depleted of nutrients, especially over here in the States. And so by creating a cleaner product, like you actually are helping them get on their way. You know, kind of like if they use your product to banish out all the other competition, I think that's super great. But I want to talk about the process of like creating the product. The actual product itself, which is called nixtamalization. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. Very good.
Oh my gosh, please explain this because I've never heard of it before. So I'm like, what?
Yeah. So, you know, people know about sourdough bread. I assume at this point, everyone knows that the commercial yeast doesn't do enough to the wheat to make it fully digestible. Basically, every seed or grain has something. So people know about, you soak nuts and then dehydrate them so that you get rid of the phytic acid and the anti-nutrients. You ferment the wheat. So the bread is more digestible. The bacteria and the yeast do their thing, and they free up the nutrients and they get rid of some of the bad stuff. There's a similar process with corn, which wasn't figured out by the Mesoamericans, God knows, thousands of years ago, because corn comes from South America. And so they figured out through trial and error, I presume, that if they just ate corn by itself, it wouldn't be that good for them. And there's a common thing where Europeans came to America and started eating a lot of corn, but didn't know how to prepare it right. And they would get this thing called pellagra, which is, I think, vitamin B1 deficiency. I don't know, because if you eat corn without processing it right, you get vitamin B1 deficiency if you eat too much of it. It's like one of those things. And so it's like people deciding that they're not going to sourdough ferment bread anymore, eating it and then getting gluten intolerance and sensitivity, right? It's the same kind of thing. They didn't know how to make bread right, and so now you can't eat the bread because the bread's not good for you. Similarly with corn, you have to do it right. And the process that the Mesoamericans figured out was you basically have to boil the corn with limestone, the rock, which is calcium hydroxide, is like the chemistry name. And if you do that, it's very alkaline, so the opposite of acidic. and that breaks down some of the harder to digest cellulose shell of the corn kernels, and does a whole bunch of stuff to a lot of the enzymes in the corn, certain proteins in the corn. It makes the vitamin B1 in the corn bioavailable. Gets rid of some anti-nutrients and mycotoxins. It's a whole like, it does a bunch of stuff, just like fermenting wheat does in making sourdough bread. It does a whole bunch of stuff. And when you do that, after you boiled it with the limestone and then you drain it and rinse it, then you can grind it into a dough and make a tortilla or whatever. And so it's very important that in order to make a tortilla chip or any corn product that you do that first. So our tortillas undergo that process first, and then they're baked, and then they're chopped and then fried. But that whole process, the corn part, is called nixtamalization, and not let's just say not every corn product out there has that behind it. And so in addition, this is like, and you could take the most organic, no pesticide corn or whatever, and if you don't do this, it's still not that good. Same thing, like you can take the best wheat and ancient grains and organic and whatever, and make bread out of it, but if you use just commercial yeast, it's not going to be that good. Just like you have to do sourdough for bread, you have to nixtamalize corn.
You have to ferment it.
Well, it's not literally fermenting, but
the
process does a similar outcome. It's more like soaking seeds does, or like soaking nuts.
Sprouting them?
Yeah, it's more like that. But still, it's like you take a grain or a seed, you do something to it, and the end result is it's now more bioavailable and digestible. And yeah, so nixtamalization does that little intermediary part of making it digestible. There's no fermentation involved, but it makes it more digestible, similar to how fermentation makes wheat more digestible.
So if I was watching this show right now and I was like hearing all of this, I would be like, holy crap. I would be like, so that means every corn product that I buy, every like wheat derived product or sourdough product, I would be like, what am I supposed to look for on the label?
Yeah. Well, like, if you're going to buy any wheat product, it should be sourdough. Like if you're going to eat wheat, it should be sourdough.
But how do you know that it's properly nixtamalized? Is that a word?
Yeah. Well, some labels will say it. Like if you're at the store shopping for tortillas, a lot of the local artisanal tortilla makers will say it on the package. You'll see that word, or it'll say like traditionally cooked or whatever. If you're curious, of course, you can ask the manufacturer if it's unclear. And same with a lot of chips. Like not all of them. A lot of the conventional chips are nixtamalized. Of course, they're still fried in seed oils, which doesn't help anyone, right? But a lot of them are, just not all of them. And the other problem is that corn is in a lot of things nowadays that are not simply like a taco or a tortilla. And so you have to, like a corn puffs, or like what are those cereal? The corn with that looks like the cross hatching.
Oh, like honeycomb.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't know, the corn, not corn flakes, maybe corn flakes too, but
Chex.
Yeah, that's the one.
I feel like we're playing a game.
Yeah, Chex. Like that's made with corn.
That's better.
And that's not nixtamalized, right?
Really?
Yeah. Or grits. Like people buy grits. It's just cornmeal. It's like corn flour, cornbread, not nixtamalized. So yeah, like there's a lot of places where corn might sneak into a recipe or a food that you might buy, and if it's not prepared right, it's like you're not going to die, right? But you should eat a lot of it.
That's really interesting that you brought up the cereal thing, because when I was younger, so my mom is a functional nutritionist, and she didn't give us a lot of quote unquote junk food in the house. Or, I mean, as a child, you're like, oh, I just want this, I just want that. And so she would buy us Chex as our junk food. That's very interesting that you bring that up. And now I'm 37 years old and I'm like,
Mom, what are you doing?
Because it was nixtamalized. I love it. Yeah, that's so cool. So basically you're saying it unlocks the nutrients, improves the taste, and
improves
even
digestibility.
digestibility.
Yeah. So like mycotoxin's gone.
What's a mycotoxin for people that don't know?
Mycotoxin is like a toxic substance produced by mold, which is very common in grain products because they're like dried and stored in these silos or whatever, which is kind of unavoidable, but that's why you process it the right way. I'm sure there's phytic acid, which people know is in nuts and whatever.
Lectins?
Lectins. I don't know if there's lectins in corn, but similar kind of thing. I think lectins are only in legumes. Maybe not only. I don't know, actually.
Oh, it's in all seeds.
The catch-all, all these are like anti-nutrients.
Yeah.
So
whether you believe it or not, they're anti-nutrients, and that's why your digestion is slow, and you have to go and get a colonic.
Yeah. I mean, that's why people get pellagra, because they'll eat the corn, and not only will the B1 in the corn not get digested, any B1 they have in their food from another thing that they eat with it will get stolen by the phytic acid and not digested. Similar to the same thing with nuts, right? Like, oh, there's zinc, or oh, there's mineral or whatever. But if the nuts have phytic acid and you eat like a zinc supplement with your nuts, like the phytic acid will pull the zinc out of your supplement too, and you won't digest it.
I love it because you're not reinventing the wheel. You're just bringing it back, which is absolutely 100% genius.
Yeah. No, there should be no invention in food, like no engineering in food. We don't want any of this. Maybe in the production methods, in farming, sure, get a tractor. In a factory, yeah, like get robots and automation, go ahead. But like if you're going to do any science or any engineering, you can do it around the food, but not in the food.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we did talk about seed oils, which is the big like elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And you were saying that it's most common in 99% of the chips, right?
Yeah.
Even the healthy ones, even though you don't like to call them healthy.
Sure.
But a lot of people don't know what's in their chips. And I love that you just like kind of explained that a little bit more. So this show is all about toxic-free living. Let me ask you, what does toxic-free living mean to you?
Getting rid of the bad stuff in your environment, most of which comes from modern crap, basically. Whether it's air pollution or water pollution or microplastics in your clothes or EMF or whatever. Like most things, most of the technology that we use in our modern environment has unhealthy byproducts for human life. And so if you're going to remove toxins, you have to, I'm not saying go live in a cave, but design your environment to expose yourself to the minimum amount of those toxins.
So simplify your life a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, I'm actually really curious because you started this. I've been thinking about this the whole time. What was your major in school?
I was a math major.
A math major.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking chemistry since you were getting all chemistry.
Yeah. I like chemistry.
I love that. But were you always like this? Like, were you always thinking about like your trajectory or like your longevity in life or like what things feel to you, or was it at that
was
moment?
only after, like I said, when I had this sort of awakening after freshman year in college where I realized that if I ate certain things, I would feel better. That caused me to then try to optimize everything. And that's when I started really caring about this kind of thing. But when I was a kid, no, I mean, I actually grew up gluten-free because my mom figured out pretty early on that if she fed me gluten, I would stop gaining weight. And so from the earliest age, like maybe 6 months old or something, I was like gluten-free. Like when I had sandwiches in middle school, it was like rice bread.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're Italian, but we didn't eat pasta because I couldn't eat gluten, and so we had a lot of rice, this kind of thing. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy any of this. I thought I was being oppressed and, like this is unfair and whatever. But I did grow up that way, but it's not like I had a preference for it. But then only after I guess I was 19 years old, I started to personally care about and value that whole thing.
Do you eat pasta now?
Yeah.
Only when you travel, or the gluten-free options? I guess there are.
No, I don't need to be gluten. Oh, sure. I don't need to be gluten-free. The problem, most people I don't think need to be gluten-free. The problem is the bread products are bad. In the same way that the chips are bad. You don't need to avoid corn. It's just that the chips are bad. You don't need to avoid bread. It's just that the bread's bad. And so most of our issues, again, like imagine this diner in the 50s. Who needs to be gluten-free? No one needs to be gluten-free, right? It's just that the flour didn't have pesticides in it. And it was some more heritage variety of wheat because the modern hybrid versions hadn't been invented yet. And their immune systems were strong. They didn't grow up getting injected with antibiotics and other unsavory substances. And they were healthier overall. And so they could digest these kind of foods, right? Like why is it that only at this point in history, for the first time in tens of thousands of years, can we just not eat these foods all of a sudden? Like there's no genetic explanation for it, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think there are, of course, some people with celiac or a severe peanut allergy or whatever, but most people would just be better off finding how to prepare foods the real way and sourcing them with proper, growing methods and whatever else, and then eating the traditional things based off of that. I'm not a firm believer in all these like alternatives, right? Like it's kind of like this pendulum swung the complete opposite way. Over when we started off, we had, potato chips and French fries and all this junk food, right? To 100 years ago, that was all great because it was all made with good ingredients. And then over time, the ingredients got worse and they started making people sick, and people realized this. So instead of saying, hey, why don't we make the ingredients better? They went the complete other way and said, let's get rid of all the ingredients. Instead of potatoes, we're gonna eat cassava. Instead of bread or wheat bread, we're gonna eat rice bread. And it's like cassava is like super high in heavy metals. No one of European ancestry ever ate a cassava, right? It comes from Southeast Asia. It's the most calorie dense carbohydrate that exists. And then you have these like diet influencers talking about like eat the cassava. It's like, dude, you have any
I know what you're talking about.
idea how much starch is in that thing?
Wow.
And so, I mean,
Fun
there's plenty of
fact.
examples, like the 0 calorie sweeteners and whatever. Stevia is a common modern one, but there was sweet and low or whatever. Aspartame, I guess, was popular in the 80s. And so people were like, sugar's bad, so let's not eat. Let's eat this fake stuff. And then, okay, great. Aspartame, half of it is like a methanol molecule, and methanol is like the accidental byproduct of like fermentation of alcohol, and it was what made people who drank moonshine blind in the whenever prohibition was. And so you have these alternatives. We're like throwing out the baby with the bathwater, and that's not healthy either, right? And it doesn't taste good, and it's not traditional, and it's confusing, and everyone thinks you're weird if you show up at the party bringing food that contains it. So we have to come back to this center ground, which is like, okay, we'll take the recipes that we were handed down over generations, so just make them right. And that's what we do. And I hope it's not just the chips. Like, we're not going to sell every food ever, but the philosophy of doing that is what I hope to inspire by just, chips are one thing, but like people in life should be seeking those, seeking how to make food with ingredients that are prepared the right way instead of throwing everything out.
Yeah, I think I love that whole like working back to your ancestry, Well, first of all, I want to mention the bread thing really, really fast because in our household, we were working on our grocery stock list, and we have this like combativeness with a particular type of bread in our house. And my husband's like, we can't get that because it tastes like cardboard.
Yeah, like rice bread is gross. Like,
And it wasn't rice bread
or whatever it is
per se,
Yeah.
but I'm like, but the ingredients are, much more healthier. But it's like, but yeah, it goes back to the taste thing. If it doesn't taste good, no one's going to eat it. So why buy it? So I'm like, just get the sourdough.
Yeah.
Get
the organic sourdough. We don't buy bread from the grocery store. It's actually I can't think of a single like grocery store bread that I think is good, except there in some Whole Foods. There's a brand of Amish bread, I think comes from Ohio. It's called Berlin Natural Bakery. It's in the freezer section, and it's these loaves of bread, and they have like a yellow label and an orange label. And one of them, it's like sliced sandwich loaves, and one of them is sourdough organic and like sourdough wheat, or it's organic and nothing else.
Okay.
And that's very good. But that's the only one I found. It's certainly, you won't see Instagram ads for it. It's a bunch of Amish people doing it. But other than that, there's no good bread in the grocery store. We get our bread we just happen to live near one of the best bakeries that exists in the country, in my opinion, I used to make bread, by the way, so I know a bit about it. And it makes bread the way I used to make bread.
I love it.
Which is a very time-consuming endeavor. And so I stopped doing it, especially once I found out this bakery existed. I was like, okay, we'll just buy this bread. But it's organic wheat. They use mostly ancient grains. It's freshly milled, which is important. So instead of buying the flour, they buy the wheat and they mill it themselves into flour and then make it fresh. Of course, it's sourdough, and there's no other weird ingredients. So a lot of bread has oil in it or sugar or whatever. You don't need any of that. And so that's like perfect bread, basically. And that's what we get, and we eat that. But yeah, like grocery store bread it's a very fraught area of the grocery store.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get that name of the bread. We're gonna like ship it over to Santa Barbara right now.
Yeah.
Going back to the ancient like traditions and stuff, my sister and I have actually been starting to say, like, she's like, oh, I'm making this great banana bread. I'm like, oh, where's that recipe from? Like, swapping recipes when you find something that's good and that's wholesome, or even what was Mimi's recipe for this, or what was that? And we used to have I know it's like totally old school, but my mom used to have this like recipe box.
Oh, nice.
With like index cards
my
in
mom
it.
has one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I think my oldest sister has it, but it's like going back to those recipes that are in the recipe box. I think that is something that is so profound. Going back to grandma's recipe.
And that kept your family alive for how many generations, right? Like they would know how best to cater to your DNA than anyone else would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those things are a treasure trove, because it's kind of hard, actually, if you try to find old cookbooks. And this is the thing, there's a bunch of YouTubers that do this really well, where they like go and get some recipe from the ancient Roman times or whatever. But it's really hard because there's not a lot of cookbooks from back then, because people didn't write the recipes down. Like, women would transmit recipes as this sort of like unwritten cultural knowledge for generations, but it wasn't written down. The recipes that people know about from ancient Roman times, for example, are all written in books that were about upper class, like cooking for the emperor or whatever. And it's like, okay, there's these weird recipes that someone decided to write down, but it's not what everyday people ate. And it's only because those people could afford to write it down, and do all that, because writing was hard. Reproducing written language was very difficult prior to the modern era. And so if you go and find these sources, a lot of them are not necessarily reflective of what people ate at the time. And the only way to actually know, unless you have a time machine, is to figure out like what the verbal recipe transmission was from like mother to daughter, basically, over generations. It's crazy where the repositories of actual like cooking knowledge truly lie. It's not in the library.
So I kind of was like thinking about one thing you were saying, like you started in your backyard with the fryer, and then where did you go from that? Because like I feel like we didn't really touch on that. Like, did you go into your kitchen next? Did you go to mom's house?
Frying, unfortunately, is one of the messiest culinary activities you can do. And so
how many burns did you get?
Domestic kitchen was not on the table. We found a commissary kitchen, which, so most people don't realize this, you can't really like sell food in a package at a grocery store unless it's made in a commercial kitchen, like legally, regulation wise. You can't just make it at home. Farmer's market, okay, but other than that. So we found a small commercial kitchen, and we assembled a little crew together and would make chips, and then I would drive the bags back to my parents' garage, and that's where we shipped them out from.
Nice.
Yeah, and that lasted about 3 months until we found a bigger space, and then we've been in that facility since then, and we're about to move to a different place that's even bigger and more equipment and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, the entire time has been trying to add more equipment, add more people, figure out how we can make more with like less people because we're cramped in there. And the entire journey has been a constant battle of trying to cook more chips, basically.
So have you figured that out yet? How to make more with less people? Faster? Come on.
Almost. Yeah. In about 5 months, we'll have the real answer to that. And our factory will have the equipment that someone like a Frito-Lay might have, which is big, large scale stuff, which interestingly enough is not. The reason why Frito-Lay stuff is bad is not because of their equipment or production methods. Largely, it's just the ingredients they get. But if anything, our quality will increase the more automation we have, because the bigger the batches are and the more technical controls you have over the process, the better you can get it to be consistent. Right now, we have a lot of complaints, which are fair, about like the inconsistency of seasoning applied to some of the chips. But that's because we're seasoning it by freaking hand.
Like the lime.
Lime and like habanero and whatever. It's like I got 20 people with like salt shakers or like screens, like shaking the powder onto like trays of chips, and that's obviously prone to inconsistency. And so a version of doing that that's better but more industrial is like there's this big tumbler, and it weighs the chips that come in and figures out precisely based on the weight of the chips that came in exactly how much seasoning to dispense to keep the ratio right, and then it applies it evenly and whatever. And so that requires very little man hours, right? And it makes a better product. So I'm very excited for that. But this stuff costs money.
That is interesting that you bring that up, because I was listening to you talk about the lime production.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Tell me about that.
Oh gosh. So lime, you would think, would be an easy flavor to do, and it was the first flavor we decided to do once we tried to do flavors. Every tortilla chip brand has a lime flavor,
genius.
Right? Yeah. Well, brilliant. Right. We're gonna do lime next. Oh yeah, $1 million. Right. So then I went about. We already designed the packaging, got the stripes that were green, and figured all that. So like, okay, we have to go make it, and I tried to go find lime powder, because you need to have seasonings applied as a powder. And I just couldn't find any lime powder. I found powder flavored with lime flavoring. I found maltodextrin with lime juice that was dehydrated. I found citric acid and lime oil.
Oh, citric acid.
All of those things are used by brands that people know and potentially some people buy listening to this. But there's no lime. Like limes turned into a powder. That didn't exist. And so what we ended up doing is buying a bunch of organic limes and getting a deli slicer and like slicing the limes into little discs, similar to if you go to a cocktail bar, they have these like dehydrated lime discs. So we did that with organic limes, dehydrated them, and then ground those up into a powder. And that was like a person's full-time job, just doing that all day. And that didn't, and that was back then when we didn't sell that many chips, right? So, but that was the lime flavor. That was what I had to do for months. I think it was 6 months until we found some people with a freeze drying factory that did more or less the same thing, but they just ground up the limes into a slurry. Again, pure organic limes, no additives or anything. And then they freeze dried it, and then that was turned into a powder. And that's largely still how it's done today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that was a challenge.
You're coming out with more and more flavors every single day. It's so fun to see like what happens. And first of all, your branding. I am such a branding nut. My first major in life was merchandise marketing.
Oh, wow.
So I am a font whore, and I like colors are like my thing. I'm like, if something's off, I'm like, absolutely
So
no
we
way.
pass.
If you're enjoying the conversations we're having here on Toxic Free with KB, please send in a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts, and follow us on YouTube and TikTok at Toxic Free with KB. And don't forget, we're on Instagram at toxicfree.kb.
So like, give us the goods. Give us the goods, Steven. What's coming next? Flavors, products, tortillas, tallow.
So as of right now, we have white corn, blue corn, yellow corn chips, and then we have the gamut of flavors for Masa Chips. We have a hatch green chili flavor coming out.
Ooh.
For Masa, which is gonna be very good. That's going to that's coming out. That's gonna be good. And then Vandy, we have original. We have Smokehouse, which we're relaunching because we had to tweak the recipe a little bit for the flavoring. French onion, which is my personal favorite flavor we've ever done. It's so freaking good. And then we have herbes de Provence. We're working on a salt and vinegar for Vandy.
Nice.
Yeah, which is exciting. And ultimately, I want to do a like nacho cheese kind of masa flavor, which is difficult because putting cheese in a chip is without chemicals.
Yeah,
it's pretty challenging. Similar to the lime, but it's even harder. And so we're doing that, but we're mostly focused on getting it in more places because primarily today the only way to really buy it is online. And so we need to be in Sprouts and Whole Foods and all these stores. And so that's coming over the next, 12 to 18 months. And that's our main focus.
Okay, one more thing to the flavor.
Yeah.
If I could throw a Toxic Free with KB
requests.
flavor in there, it'd be kettle corn.
Kettle corn.
But like kettle corn, kettle chips.
Oh, like the sweet ones.
Like the Swedish ones.
Oh.
You're kind of savory. I
the
know.
caramel ones. No, there's sugar in the Smokehouse flavor.
Oh, yeah, he's like sugar.
Like caramelized. Yeah, I mean, would you want it to be like with a shiny, crunchy coating? Like,
God, I don't know. This is like a lot of questions. We need to like collaborate.
I need to think about this.
But let's jump back into like starting a company, being a leader in a company.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about that, like the fruition of that.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is that everything we do is just super damn expensive, which is kind of the whole point, right? Everything we have to do has to be the best, and the best is expensive. And the reason it's not commonly done by others is because it's expensive and no one wants to do that. So from the fact that our seasoning is manual, right? How labor intensive is that? To the cost of the ingredients. Like I think we pay $40 a pound for the lime powder that we currently get, which is far and away the most expensive single ingredient we have by weight. And you can buy conventional maltodextrin, whatever crappy lime powder for probably $2 or $3 a pound, right? So the tallow's obviously not cheap, and we use a lot of it, and we have to keep it fresh. So we end up throwing a lot away after it's used, right? Because you don't want to leave it in the fryer for like a month straight, which some companies do. Not necessarily tallow people, but yeah, we've been touring a few chip factories, and it's kind of harrowing the way they treat their oil. It's like there are people who the chips are fried and the oil comes out along with the chips, and they just add more oil in, and they just keep doing that for basically a month straight.
Fascinating.
And that's seed oils, of course. So it's already gross enough, let alone they're doing that. It's horrible. So yeah, I think the most difficult part is negotiating, dealing with the fact that we have to make things that are expensive, and therefore we have to charge a high price for it. And it's not as if we're off here like raking in the dough. I mean, we are supported by various investors that the vast majority of whom are very bought into the mission, and it's not they're there to change what we do. But yeah, we haven't like made money once yet. And we're going on 3 years, and our prices by many people would be considered to be high. Mm-hmm. And so the whole like running that business is a very expensive endeavor. And at some point you're big enough and the efficiencies of production are high enough that it becomes an economical thing to run. But yeah, it's not very easy doing it. And there's a reason why no one does it this way, basically.
So scaling the business, you do have investors.
Yeah. And
you had to kind of go out and pitch yourself with that.
Yeah.
My husband's he's an entrepreneur. And I know from hearing his story as growing a company, being a leader in the industry, he's in aviation.
Oh, cool.
And so when he started out his business, it kind of seems similar. It's not like he was reinventing the wheel. He was just taking something and making it better, making it more efficient, making it more, as you could say, taste better, pleasurable.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's, it's just hard to do. Like big companies have every advantage in the world because they have all the infrastructure that, they sell so much to pay for their expensive infrastructure, but they already have the infrastructure. They don't have to go build it from scratch in 2 years. Frito-Lay is a conglomerate. Of course, they bought a lot of brands and started a lot of brands, but they've been around for almost a century at this point, right? This type of stuff doesn't happen overnight. And so all the trucks they have and the factories they have and the people they have and their HR department, their accounting department and their access to debt and financing and whatever, we don't have any of that stuff. So we have to build it all from scratch. And I have to go learn how to do all that too. It's not like anyone taught me necessarily how to go and do these things. Grocery itself is another challenge, right? There's so many rules in the grocery system, the way the distributors work and the brands work and the schedules on which the grocery stores review what's on their shelf. And you have to get into those schedules and deal with shipping the things in a certain way. And there's all these like potential fees if you make this mistake. There's a whole bunch of nuanced stuff that you don't really know about ahead of time. And the only way to figure it out is either make it the mistake and fix it or hire people who know about how to do that ahead of time. And so it's like, it's not just cooking chips because I want to in my parents' backyard. It's like you have to run an enterprise, which requires a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh, how much sleep do you lose at night?
I if I don't sleep a lot, I will get sick and die, basically. So I have to sleep, but I have basically no time for anything. And I'm also way less healthy than I was when I started.
Really?
Yeah, because
Stress?
when I at my last job, I worked not very hard. It was a remote thing. I had my laptop. I was like in Fort Lauderdale. I would go tan on my rooftop for like an hour every day at 2 p.m.
Love it.
Like take a few calls, I would drive to Miami 35 minutes each way and work out for an hour and a half, like twice a week. And I could just do that. And now I can't do any of that.
So let me ask you, what would make you healthier?
More spare time, less stress, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in order to get you less stress,
Yeah.
People need to like understand what the mission is and get on board.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what
pretty
we're
much.
trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I need to hire a lot of people. We need to hire a lot of people specifically. That's another.
We'll help you with that.
Yeah.
Guys, send in your resume to Steven over.
No, actually though, we are. I need a supply chain manager. I need an operations guy. I need a purchasing person.
There you go.
We don't have really a finance team. I need a finance team. Wholesale has to get built out. We need a lot. So yeah, I think it's funny thinking about like the health influencers, like with their morning routines. Joe Rogan works out like 4 hours in the morning every day, and he has a sauna and his cold plunge, which is awesome for him, and I think that's great. Yeah, it's just like you can do that. He can do that because he's already Joe Rogan. He can afford the time to spend on that, which I think is it's not as if it's unhealthy or anything. But when you're trying to go make something, every spare minute is like, well, should I be working or should I be in a cold plunge? Probably going to be working.
Well, let me tell you, you already said what your healthy habit was, and that was sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if sleep gives you the optimization to work and create and provide that mission out there, then that is your hot habit. It's not cold plunging, right? That's your thing.
Yeah.
And so I think, like sleep, what I'm seeing more and more, my husband and I try to get in bed by 8:30 latest.
Oh, wow. I'm so jealous.
So we can wake up at like 4 or 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because we have so much to do, or as I'm, I guess, a mini Joe Rogan, I have my morning routines that make me.
And that works. Like that is awesome.
But I'm not making chips. I'm not like grinding the limes.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So remember that. Like, don't put yourself down and be like, well, Joe Rogan, but sleep.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Sleep is
always,
my thing.
Always keep that in your back pocket.
No, when I can take the time, I will totally be doing what Joe Rogan does every morning.
You'll get there.
Maybe we'll wait. Talk to me in 12 to 18 months and we'll see.
We are helping you get there. So
exactly.
Let's close up the show so you can go get your cat nap in for your disco nap. We love it.
Great.
So what I encourage everyone, take a Masa chip bag, take a Vandy chip bag, right? Take it with you around the grocery store. Compare that ingredient label to all the other favorite chip ingredients that you like to do. Like, Well, or if you don't have the chips on hand, then just read ingredient labels before. How many of those ingredients do you know where they come from? I think that's like a really hot tip. Treat your body with respect. Yes, even while snacking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or another thing is that, so I actually don't snack, which is ironic. I don't like snacking. I eat 3 times a day max, oftentimes 2. And it's not comfortable for me to eat between meals. Whether or not that is the right way for everyone, figure it out for yourself. But the thing is, I eat a ton of our products because they're part of meals. So a common thing is my wife will make me for lunch like a nacho bowl with like ground beef and cheese and a bunch of chips. And that's so convenient for her because then she doesn't have to go and make some carbohydrate. Carbs are so difficult to make. Like if you want carbs, you got to go boil rice and it gets stuck to the bottom of the pot. You got to bake potato and it takes like an hour and a half. You have to boil pasta. Same thing. You waste all this water. And then, if you cook it too much, it gets overcooked. Making bread isn't insanely difficult. And so I think as opposed to meat, right, to make steak, it takes like 5 minutes on a stainless steel pan. Ground beef is very easy to make. So I think in general, meat and like the really nutrient dense stuff is actually pretty easy to prepare. But the other things that you need to have a complete meal are not. And these things like the potato chips and tortilla chips make our lives so much easier because you can just go and grab them and it's like meal quality food, but it's not cooked in your house. And so instead of making steak and potatoes, now she just makes steak and Vandy Crisps. And that's dinner.
Love it.
And it's delicious.
This is so funny.
It's not snack foods. It's meal foods.
My boys love this right now. They're like, okay, done.
Yeah.
Don't have to like get a plate dirty or anything. Just have my bag.
Oh, seriously. That's half the thing. If I had this during the early 20s period of my life where I was like single and living alone, I would have saved so much time. I think for about a year and a half straight, I ate for every day. Like ground beef, I would cook in a pan, and then I would put potatoes in the oven and bake them. And then I would have that for 2 or 3 days, and I would make ground beef every day and then warm up one of my potatoes. But I still had to bake the potatoes, and I still had a baking tray to go wash. If it were now, I would just make steak every day and then get a bag of Vandy, and that would be dinner. I would just do that every day. Yeah.
Interesting. I love it. We got to make a spinach chip out there so at least someone can get some like greens in there.
Yeah. A few greens. Herbs of Provence. There you go. You have
Herbs of Provence. There we go.
Or what I like to do back then is I would just get sauerkraut from the grocery store. You can obtain pretty good sauerkraut, and I would eat that with my meat and potato.
Or an artichoke dip.
Yeah.
I love it. So for someone just starting to ditch processed foods and seed oils, what's one step they can start today to start feeling better?
The biggest place where you get seed oils is in fried foods, if they're fried in seed oils. I would not eat fried foods unless they were fried in tallow. I mean, in general, Americans eat far too many fried foods. Even if they were all in tallow, we don't need that much deep fried stuff, in my opinion. Ironic, given that I sell deep fried foods. But again, the country's big. You just don't need to eat that much of it. Frying carbohydrates in oil soaks the oil up like a sponge. And there's just so much in there, and the frying process, the way that they just don't, like in restaurants where they don't ever replace the oil, it just builds up so much more toxicity because seed oils degrade in heat. Like that's one of the bigger problems. That's why they're incompatible with humans, because we're warm, 98.6 degrees, right? That's a hot environment. And so in addition to just eating them in general, a commercial deep fryer at a normal kitchen or some factory that's making food, it's like the oil is going to be days, weeks old. It's going to be heated. It's going to be crumbs. Crumbs are going to burn. The burning pollutes the oil. And then it's like, you should never, oh my gosh, I toured a factory the other day because we're like a few weeks ago, we're trying to buy a factory and like see what we could do and rip out their equipment and put our stuff in. I had to walk outside. I had a headache from just like the fumes of the seed oil fryer, just like in the air in the factory. It was it smells so bad. My clothes, because it sticks to your clothes. My clothes smelled for like 2 or 3 days. It was horrible. Yeah, don't eat deep fried seed oil foods, whether it's in a package or at a restaurant. Just avoid it. That's like the easiest way and most highest impact thing to do in order to get the most seed oils out of your life.
Okay, so before you said sleep was like your everyday, like I have to get great sleep.
Yeah.
Besides sleep, what is your everyday non-negotiable?
I have to eat at least once a day, honestly. It's not much. It's not much. I need to eat okay, fine. I need to eat meat. I need to eat a large quantity of meat at some point during the day.
And what type of meat do you like? And are you doing like the whole meat bowl thing that everyone's doing?
meat bowl
You know what I'm talking about? People are like eating bowls of meat. My husband does it too.
with just meat in a bowl.
It's like meat in a bowl. They put like some cheese in there, maybe some sour cream.
Oh no, I haven't. I don't do that.
Okay.
Maybe
it's only on the West Coast.
I personally don't do that. I don't like eating fatty things without carbohydrates. Also, for whatever reason.
Food combining.
Yeah, like if I were to eat a big fatty piece of steak, I'm like without a potato or something, or rice or whatever to go along with it, I would want to die. Like I just
You're
don't.
hilarious.
I don't like, my body does not like plain fat for whatever reason. So like fatty beef and sour cream or like it's just not. I can't do it. But yeah. So meat is like it's not a meal in my opinion if it doesn't have meat in it. And like this, it's just not food. It's like, that's a snack.
A good, clean, quality meat, folks.
Yeah. So I like beef, ground beef, steak. It's very hard to find good pork products. We have our beef farmer at the farmer's market. He grows some pigs and they're very good and they make very good sausage, which is so hard to find, right? Most sausage you can buy either tastes good and it's like made well from a culinary standpoint, but it's with the worst quality pork, and pork in this country is just abysmal.
Yeah.
It's just the worst thing ever. And then on the other hand, you have people with really good pork, but then they don't turn it into tasty sausage. And so that sucks too. Go to Germany or anywhere in Central Europe. Oh my gosh, sausage is so good. They sell, I know I'm taking too long with this, but they sell in Germany at a deli, you can buy raw ground pork.
Ground pork.
Yes, and you eat it. It's not like you go home and cook it. It's like in a tube that looks like salami, but it's raw ground pork with some seasonings in it. And it looks like salami because it has the same color and texture. It's just very vibrant. And then you take it out and it's squishy and cold and you spread that on bread. And it's the best thing ever. You could never do that with US pork. They feed pigs literal garbage.
Yeah,
but anyway, so like pork or beef and some type of carbohydrate has to be in the meal. Otherwise, it's not going to be good for me. So yeah, a meal with meat and sleep. And I mean, honestly, that's kind of it. Just like my computer for 12 hours and yeah, I'll get stuff done. But that's the bare minimum.
Please take a spin around the block every hour and a half.
Yeah, I go for some walks. I go for some strolls.
Love it.
Yeah, but that's
Cool.
That's it for me.
Steven, it's been such a pleasure to have you.
Katie.
You were like literally like a little light bulb. I love it. I'm just going to turn it on.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens next. Wait to see all the new products that come out. Where can everyone find and follow you and listen to you and ask you more questions?
So me personally, my Instagram name is Really Tan Man, spelled as you
Really
expect.
Tan Man.
Yeah. And our brands are masachips.com, masachips.com, and Vandy Crisps, VandyCrisps.com.
Please, guys, please go support this company because we need to give Steven a little more self-care time in the world.
Yes, please.
No,
yes.
his mission is brilliant. So please go try his chips, send him some feedback, tell him exactly what you love the most about it, and serve him at your next taco bowl party.
Yes, do it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, now it's time for hot habits. My hot habit for today is making my bed. You're probably like, making your bed? Really? That's your hot habit? Yes, it is. So those with messier homes, especially to the extreme of hoarding, are known to have poorer executive function and more issues with emotional regulation, stress, and mental health. Yes, true fact. So there is a solid body of evidence showing a clear link between living and working in an organized, clutter-free environment and having improved focus, goal-setting skills, productivity, and lower levels of stress. Because we all know, folks, that we live in a highly stressful world these days. So in essence, the assumption that having a tidy house or a workspace makes for a better, happier, tidier mind. Guys, start making those beds every morning. You know who I'm talking about. And moving on now to our trendy trends. Okay, guys, the trendy trend about having a high protein diet out there. I know everyone's saying get this amount of protein for this amount of body pound that you weigh. Guys, let me tell you, some claim that eating more protein can help balance your hormones, trim excess fat from your waist, and clear your skin. There's actually, oh my gosh, the internet's going to come at me for this one. There's no evidence that eating more than the FDA recommended amount of protein will do any of those things. And in fact, it's really important to take caution. Understand that many extreme influencers out there might be giving you misinformation about exactly how much grams of protein you should be adding to your body weight per day. Remember to ask a nutritionist that understands your body as well as you do. And remember, sometimes food can just be food without adding any extra protein to it. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in as always. I appreciate y'all so much. And remember, you're doing your best and your best is great. See you next time. Thanks for watching Toxic-Free with KB. Please subscribe to the show, comment below, and check us out on Instagram at toxicfree.kb and TikTok at toxicfreewithkb. See you next time. This is a Kilo Bravo Media production brought to you by Rainbow Creative.